Hey, what is up guys? Clunky Dude here. Hopefully you guys are doing super good, and today we're gonna check out all the class tunings coming up in September 3 right here, okay? There's some pretty insane buffs in this patch, guys. I think a lot of you are gonna be super happy, okay? So be sure to watch up until the end. First nerf actually is going to be for Death Knight. Who would have thought that? So Frost Death Knight, it's got a nerf on Frost Strike. Frost Strike damage reduced by 6%. However, it does not apply to PvP. There we go. So you guys are pretty lucky in PvP for Frost Death Knight. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it at the moment. It looks super fun. Obliterate damage reduced by 6%. Does not apply to PvP. Icy Death Torrent damage reduced by 10%. This is going to affect PvP. Glacial Advance damage reduced by 10%. Again, does not apply to PvP. You guys are dodging the bullet right now. And to be fair, let's go, man. Frost Death Knight was super lame in Dragonflight. I think it was good for like one season. And right now, it must be a blast to play that character. Next, we got Balanced Druid, which is okay. It deals damage, but honestly, it needs a little bit of a buff. Honestly. So balance, umbral, intensity increases the damage of Wrath by 40%, down from 50%. So that is a nerf right there. 5% nerf, 10% nerf. It's kind of a lame nerf, honestly. Wrath was not actually hitting hard at all. And then Starfire. Starfire was hitting incredibly hard, hitting for like 1 million a crit, so I think that was needed. And then we got a Star Surge damage buff, like 12% Star Surge damage buff. I would say thank you. Thank you. Balance is just like, you cannot kill anything right now. Of course you deal the damage, but it's padding numbers, like doesn't matter. Then we got Starfall damage increased by 20%. Okay. 20%. Starfall is like our highest hitting ability right now. Like 50% of our damage is Starfall if you spec into Starfall build. Harmony of the Heavens increases Eclipse power by max 6%. It was 1% per proc, max 5%. Maybe people are gonna start playing with that talent, because right now nobody even picks that talent ever. And then we got Feral, we got Blood Talons and Lion Strength. Now also increase the damage of Rampant Ferocity. That sounds like a buff. I honestly haven't played Feral this expansion, but Feral's already super strong, so you guys will be happy about that change. I'm pretty sure about that, in fact. Evoker, Devastation. All damage and spells abilities increased by 6%. So that means in PvP 2. Firestorm damage increased by 20%. I don't think people actually use Firestorm in PvP, but for PvE players, that's kind of a good buff, okay? So we got Firestorm duration reduced to 10%, was 12 seconds. Okay, they're buffing the damage but reducing the duration. And then Flame Shaper and Gulf damage increased by 30%. Nice to see such a big increase on damage on a single ability. Okay, we got Hunter here. Hunter, Pack Leader. Vicious Hunt damage increased by 10% for Beast Mastery. You never see a single Beast Mastery, so hopefully this will help people actually pick up that spec. Vicious Hunt damage decreased by 10% for Survival. Survival super good 1v1, let's be honest. It doesn't shine that much in big fights, but 1v1 it's still holding quite a punch. Okay, when Vicious Hunt's damage reaches a certain point, it can cause Kill Command to dominate Survival's rotation. This adjustment, subsequent compensation are meant to ensure Pack Leaders, Survival Hunters are utilizing the other tools at their disposal. Okay, just slightly changing the rotation. Howl of the Pack, critical strike damage bonus increased to 5% instead of 3%, so small crit chance damage increase. Howl of the Pack, critical strike damage bonus increased to 11% from 7% for Survival. We got Furious Assault damage bonus increased to 60% for Survival. Wow, up from 30%. 30% buff. Cool the herd damage over time increased to 60% for survival, up from 30%. So that sounds like a good buff to Furious Assault and Cool the herd. I kind of am super curious to know what those abilities do. So let me know down in the comment section. Mage, fire. Living bomb damage increased by 30%. I mean, is it gonna be enough? Fire Mage is dead right now. Absolutely terrible character. Pyroblast damage increased by 5%. Okay, Blizzard. You're literally shitting in my bowl of cereals right now. It's not gonna be enough. It's not gonna be enough. Flame Strike damage increased by 10%. It feels like Blizzard wants us Fire Mages to just like spam that Flame Strike. Like, can we actually have a decent single target build, Blizzard, please? Oh, anyways, Frostfire. Frostfire bolt damage increased by 25% for fire. Okay, still pretty meh. We need that Sun Fury buff, Blizzard. We need that big Sun Fury buff, please. Paladin of Power can no longer be double dipped by spell queuing. Have no idea what that means. Arcane Phoenix damage dealt reduced by 10% for Arcane. Okay, so that meant whenever you spawn that Phoenix, it's nerfed by 10%. I think Burden of Power can no longer be double dipped. Was kind of a glitch. It sounds like it. Arcane Soul base duration reduced to 2 seconds was 3 seconds. Yeah, still nothing. Like, there's no big buff for Fire Mage. I wish it was possible to play Fire Mage like single target build right now, but not happening. Okay, so what about Paladin? Retribution. Mastery High Lord's Judgment reduced by 10%. For example, at level 80, 180 mastery rating now grants 1.35 mastery. Was 1.5. Okay, so that means our mastery as Retribution Pally got nerfed. Nice. All holy spell damage increased by 5%. Okay, so we got a small damage buff to compensate for that. So that means it's kind of a small buff. A very, very small buff by like 2%. Something like that. Discipline Priest. Oracle, Discipline Priest's preventive measures now increases power word shield absorption by 40%, was 25%. Does not apply to PvP. Oh, okay. Oof. Atonement healing increased by 100% outside raid, was 70%. Ah, that sounds good though. Does not apply to PvP. Fixed an issue where atonement critical healing was not increased by the correct amount outside of raid. Okay. Just fixing a glitch. Shadow Word Pain and Purge the Wicked damage increased by 20%. So that means in PvP too. So let's be honest, Discipline was performing super well in solo queue RBGs. But maybe for arenas, they would need a buff. We don't know yet. The season has not started yet. Shadow Priest. Void Weaver Shadow Priest's Void Blast damage increased by 20%. Nice. 20% increased damage on Void Blast. Sounds awesome. Oh, Elitrami. Mastery. Elemental Overload's bonus to all elemental and physical damage increased by 35%. Holy heck, bro. Holy heck. All damage reduced by 6%. Honestly, that sounds like a buff anyways. So, that sounds like a buff anyways. Stormbringer. Okay, let's go. Tempest now deals 65% of its damage to enemies near its primary target. Was 50%? Tempest was already hitting super hard. Okay, yeah. Tempest now deals reduced damage beyond 5 targets. Yeah, that was to be expected. Like, Tempest can hit for 1.5 million and it's AoE too. So, enhancement. Oh, there we go. Enhancement. All damage reduced by 4%. Blizzard, what the heck? Like, nobody plays edits anyways. Why are you nerfing it? Elemental blast damage increased by 12%. Okay, that's good. Stormbringer. Tempest now deals, okay, 65% of its damage to enemies near its primary target. Was 50%. Okay, same thing as Ellie. And Tempest now deals reduced damage beyond 5 targets. Okay, same thing. Totemic, thermal damage increased by 10%. Searing Volley damage increased by 80%. Oh, I wonder what's that ability. Sounds pretty insane. 80% buff. Warlock, Destruction all ability damage increased by 5%. Nice. So that means Chaos Ball too. So GG's, you Warlock players. Leveling my Destro Warlock, by the way, at the moment. So player versus player. We got Druid. Rip damage increased by 15% in PvP combat. Holy heck. Rank damage increased by 15% in PvP combat. Whoa. Balance. Holy heck. Balance is... Oh, hell's gonna be so insane, boys. Balance. Lunar Calling now increases Starfire damage by 50% in PvP combat. Was 65%. Yeah, that's was to be expected. It was hitting super hard. Umbral Embrace now increases the damage of Wrath and Starfire by 40% in PvP. Was, yeah, that was to be expected. Please just buff like Star Surge damage by a ton. So our like big spenders actually deal damage, Blizzard. Because it feels like no matter the key that I press on Balance Druid, it's always hitting the same. So I don't know. Feral, Taste for Blood's damage increase to Ferocious Bite during Tiger's Fury is decreased by 50% in PvP combat? What? Whoa, that's a huge nerf though. So okay, they're buffing the dot damage, but they're nerfing Ferocious Bite. Okay. Saber Jaws effectiveness now reduced by 50% in PvP again. That's a huge nerf. Mage. Iceland's damage increased by 45% in PvP combat was 75. Oh, okay, that was to be expected, boys. I play Fire Mage, Frost Mage, Arcane Mage, and I could not play Fire Mage at all. But when I switched to Frost Mage, I was literally deleting people, just like hitting a million every Iceland. So Iceland's damage reduced. I kind of understand why, dude. So it's gonna hit much less harder. Like Monk, Master of Harmony, Manifestation is now 50% effective in PvP combat. Okay. Brewmaster, Chi Burst damage reduced by 30% for Brewmaster monks in PvP combat. Brewmaster was kind of crazy 1 versus 1. I don't know if you guys actually fought a Brewmaster. It was dealing so much damage. Is it? I don't know. It was bursting a lot. Mistweaver, Peace Weaver now reduces the cooldown of Revival by 33%, was 50%. Honestly, I play every character in the game, and when I see a Mistweaver, especially when I'm playing a spellcaster, I'm always demoralized. I know he's going to use Revival on cooldown and just like, you know, using his abilities, right? And dispelling all my dots. So knowing that Revival now will have a slightly longer cooldown is fun for me. Sorry about that, Miss Weavers, though. Life Cocoon is now 30% more effective in PvP combat. Holy heck! Enveloping Mist can no longer be dispelled. You guys got a buff, okay? It's maybe not the buff that you guys wanted, because you kind of have a little bit of a nerf too, but it's kind of good, dude. You cannot spell steal Enveloping Mist anymore, so... Praise, Holy, Prayer of Mending, healing increased by 65% in PvP combat. Whoa. Do you guys ever use Prayer of Mending, though? I don't see many Holy Priests casting that ability. Maybe now it's going to make a comeback. Who knows? Chamois, Enhancement. Lava Lash damage increased by 60% in PvP combat. Whoa! Wow, that's a huge buff. 60%. Storm Strike and Wind Strike damage increased by 60% in PvP combat. Holy heck. Wind Fury attack damage increased by 60% in PvP combat. Holy heck, that is crazy, dude. Yeah, maybe Enhancement is making a comeback. Who knows? That sounds absolutely crazy, dude. Warrior, Thunderous Roar damage reduced by 15% in PvP combat. Let's be honest, that was to be expected. It must have been fun while it lasted. Will it be enough to completely kill the ability? I highly doubt so. Let's be honest, man. Thunderous War is super good. Arms, auto attack damage no longer decreased by an additional 12% in PP combat. Okay. Sorry, Arms Warrior, you got an auto attack buff. Are we playing Classic here? Yeah, Fury Warrior, Odin's Fury damage reduced by 20% in PvP combat. That was to be expected once again. I would literally just get rushed by Warrior. Bro would press Odin's Fury and Thunderous Roar, Blade Storm, and I would be at like 10% HP already. So that was to be expected. Is it going to be enough to kill the character? Not at all. I think Warrior is still going to be super scary. I'm still going to shit my pants whenever I see like triple Fury Warriors. Yes. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the subscribe button, leave a like, share this video to your friends, help me reach my goals, which is like 15k subscriber. That would be awesome. Thanks a lot for watching. Hopefully you guys have a fantastic rest of the day. This was Clunky Doo. Stay awesome, gentlemen.